Have you ever wondered why you can be going to work, getting everything done, caring for everyone around you, keeping your life moving, and still you feel like your body is constantly bracing for something to go wrong? Survival mode doesn't always look like a crisis. Sometimes it looks like feeling rushed when nothing is actually urgent, being exhausted but unable to fully relax, becoming easily overwhelmed or irritated, or feeling guilty the moment that you try to slow down. Or maybe you finally sit down at the end of the day, and instead of feeling relieved, your mind immediately starts going through everything you still need to do. Or someone asks you one more question. And even though it's a small thing, your whole body reacts like it's just too much. You might look completely capable on the outside while your nervous system is still acting as if it has to protect you. And when your body stays in that protective state for too long, it can become harder to think clearly, make decisions, stay focused, sleep deeply, or feel fully present with the people that you care about. Then, on top of everything your body's already carrying, you might start judging yourself for not handling it better. But this isn't because you're weak, lazy, oversensitive, or somehow failing at life. Your body might have simply become very practiced at staying prepared. Most of what our autonomic nervous system does happens automatically. You can't just tell your heart to slow down or ask your body to stop producing a stress response. But there's one automatic process that you can consciously change. And when you change it, the rest of your body begins to listen. And that process is breathing. Your breath might be one of the simplest ways to show a body that has been living in survival mode that in this moment, it's safe to relax. And I don't just want to explain it to you. Before this video is over, I want to give you an opportunity to notice what changes in your own body when you begin working with your breath in a different way. So in this video, I'll show you how to recognize the signs that your body may still be stuck in survival mode, even when you seem completely functional on the outside, why the way you breathe can influence your nervous system more quickly than trying to think your way into feeling calm, and a few simple breathing practices that you can use to help your body slow down, relax, and begin returning to a sense of safety. Imagine driving through your entire day with your foot lightly pressed against the accelerator. You might be sitting at a red light, the car isn't moving. From the outside, everything looks completely still, but underneath, the engine is still revving. And that's what survival mode can feel like in your body. You might be sitting on the couch, lying in bed, or answering an email, standing in line at the grocery store. But inside, part of you is still preparing for the next problem. Your muscles might be braced. Your breathing might be a little faster or higher in your chest. Your mind might be scanning through everything that still needs to be handled. And even though there's no immediate emergency, your body hasn't fully received the message that it's allowed to slow down. Now imagine telling that car, calm down, stop revving. There's nothing wrong. But your foot's still pressed on the gas pedal. The engine can't respond to that because it's responding to the physical signal it's receiving. And your nervous system can work in a similar way. You might understand logically that you're safe, and you may remind yourself that everything is okay. You might even become frustrated and think, why can't I just relax? But sometimes your body needs a physical experience of safety before your mind can fully believe it. And your breath is one of the simplest ways to begin easing your foot off that accelerator. Not slamming on the brakes, not forcing your body to become completely calm in an instant. Just gently reducing the pressure and allowing the whole system to begin slowing down. But before I show you how to do that, it helps to understand what survival mode actually is. Because your sympathetic nervous system is not the enemy. In fact, you need it. Your sympathetic nervous system helps you respond when something needs your attention. It helps you get out of bed, exercise, solve a problem, meet a deadline, and protect yourself when something is really wrong. The problem happens when your body has had a hard time recognizing that the demand is over. Maybe you had a stressful meeting at work, and hours later, you're still replaying it in your mind. Maybe you spent the day taking care of everyone else, and then you finally have a quiet moment, and your body still can't settle. Or maybe nothing especially dramatic happened, but you still feel like you're running behind, forgetting something, or waiting for the next problem. Survival mode doesn't always mean panic. Sometimes it means constantly checking, planning, preparing, or just trying to stay one step ahead so nothing falls apart. Sometimes it looks like procrastination. You know what needs to be done, but every time you think about starting, your mind goes blank or your body feels heavy. Sometimes it looks like irritation. Someone asks you a simple question, but your nervous system is already carrying so much that one more request just feels unbearable. And sometimes it looks like shutting down. You might feel numb, disconnected, exhausted, or just completely unlike yourself. These responses can look very different, but they may all come from a body that's trying to protect you. And I really want you to hear that. Your body is not broken and it's not trying to sabotage you. It might simply have learned that staying alert, busy, or prepared was the safest way to get through life. Maybe you spent years caring for other people. Maybe you've had to hold everything together through a divorce, a loss, a stressful job, financial pressure, or a difficult relationship. Maybe you became very good at noticing what everyone else needed before they even asked. After doing that long enough, tension can begin to feel normal. A regulated nervous system doesn't mean staying calm every second of every day. Regulation means flexibility. It means your body can activate when something requires action and then gradually settle when that moment is past. You can press on the accelerator when you need to move, and you can ease your foot off when you reach the red light. When you've been living in survival mode, your body might even keep pressing that pedal during safe moments when it's time to rest. The good news is that your nervous system can learn through experience. It can become more familiar with settling, resting, and returning to the present moment. And this does not happen through criticizing yourself or forcing your body to calm down. It happens through small, repeated experiences of safety. One of the simplest ways to begin creating that experience is through something you're already doing all day long. And that's breathing. Breathing is unusual in that it happens automatically, but you can also change it on purpose. Your heart keeps beating, your digestive system keeps working, and your body manages temperature, blood pressure, and stress responses without you consciously directing any of it. Your breathing continues automatically, even when you sleep. But at any moment, you can change its speed, depth, rhythm, and whether you breathe through your mouth or your nose. That makes your breath a bridge between the part of your nervous system that works automatically and the part you can influence consciously. You might not be able to tell your heart to slow down, but you can change the rhythm of your breathing, and your heart and your nervous system will respond to that rhythm. Your heart rate naturally changes a little as you breathe. When you inhale, it tends to speed up slightly, and when you exhale, it tends to slow down. This is one reason a slow, comfortable breath, often with a slightly longer exhale, can support the parasympathetic side of your nervous system, the part involved with resting, digesting, recovering, and healing. Fast, shallow breathing can tell your body that it needs to stay prepared. Slower, easier breathing can begin communicating something different. In this moment, I am not running, I am not fighting, and I may be allowed to relax. Now, one breath may not erase everything you're feeling or completely turn off a stress response. Sometimes you might notice a shift immediately. Your shoulders might drop, your jaw might soften, or you might feel more present. Other times, the change may be quieter. Your breath might become slightly less hurried, or your body might feel a little heavier against the chair. You don't have to force yourself to feel calm for the practice to be helpful, and you don't have to breathe perfectly. When people hear take a deep breath, they often pull in their biggest breath possible and lift their shoulders and lift their upper chest. Sometimes that can actually make them feel more anxious, dizzy, or uncomfortable. So we're not going to focus on enormous breaths. Instead, think of the words low, slow, quiet, and comfortable. When you're stressed or rushing, your breaths might move higher up into your chest. Your shoulders might lift and the muscles in your neck begin helping you breathe. As a respiratory therapist, I spent many years paying attention to the way that people breathe. And breathing is not only about how much air you take in, it's also about how easily your body receives that breath. When I say to breathe low, I don't mean forcing your stomach outward or filling your lungs as much as possible. I mean allowing the breath to move a little slower into the body. You might notice your abdomen's gently expanding, but also pay attention to your lower ribs. They're designed to expand forward and to the sides, and even into your back as your diaphragm comes down. You can imagine the lower ribs opening like an umbrella around the center of your body. Not dramatically, just enough to create a little more space. You can place your hands around the sides of your lower ribs and notice whether you feel a small amount of movement beneath them as you breathe in. If you don't feel much at first, that's okay. You're not trying to make your body perform. You're just hoping it remember a movement that it already knows. Slowly means taking some of the hurry out of the breath. You don't need to drag it out or hold it until you become uncomfortable. Quiet means the breath doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. When it feels comfortable, breathe in through your nose. Your nose warms, filters, and humidifies the air, and nasal breathing supports the production of nitric oxide. And comfortable means that your breath should support your body, not make it feel controlled. If a 4-second inhale feels like too long, breathe in for 3. If a 6-second exhale feels strained, then just breathe out for 4 or 5. If you notice dizziness, tingling, air hunger, or growing anxiety, just return to normal breathing. You're allowed to adjust the practice, make it smaller or stop. So before we change your breathing, just take a minute to notice what you're already doing. Is your breath moving mostly through your upper chest, or can you feel any movement in your lower ribs and abdomen? Does the inhale feel easy or a little restricted? Does the exhale feel relaxed, or does it end quickly? You don't need to judge any of it. Just notice. If it feels comfortable at this point, just place both feet on the floor and let the chair or the couch support some of your weight. You can keep your eyes open and just allow your gaze to rest softly on something in front of you. Before we begin, you may want to tap through the EFT points once. This is something I often do before meditation or breath work because it helps me begin settling into my body before I ask myself to become still. So we can just lightly tap at the top of the head, then the eyebrows, side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, under the lip, the collarbone, and then under the arm. There's nothing you need to say. Just tap gently and breathe normally. And if you don't want to tap, that's completely fine. Now, place one hand over your lower ribs or abdomen and take an easy breath in through your nose. Not a huge breath, just a quiet, comfortable inhale. Then let the breath leave slowly. We're going to try breathing in for 4 and out for 6. The numbers are only a guide. If you need a shorter count, just use one. So slowly breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and gently exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, 4, and slowly release the breath, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you breathe in again, notice whether you feel a little movement beneath your hand. And 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't need to empty your lungs completely. Just allow the exhale to be a little longer than the inhale. One more breath together. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now just let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. You don't need to search for a dramatic change. Maybe your shoulders feel slightly lower. Maybe your jaw might feel a little softer. Maybe your breath feels easier, or you feel more supported by the chair. Or maybe you don't notice much at all yet. And that doesn't mean you did it wrong. Instead of asking, did this work? Ask, what feels even 2% different? Maybe there's a little more space in your chest. Maybe your mind slowed down for one moment. Maybe you simply became aware of how much tension you were carrying. And that awareness matters. But this is often the moment that the mind wants to start evaluating everything. Am I doing this correctly? Why am I not more relaxed? When you've been living in survival mode, your mind can become very good at searching for problems. And there's nothing wrong with wanting answers. But when your body's already activated, urgently trying to solve, explain, judge, and remove the feeling can create even more pressure. Curiosity feels different. Analysis asks, why is this happening and how can I fix it? While curiosity asks, what am I noticing right now? Maybe there's tightness in your chest, or your stomach feels unsettled, or maybe your jaw is clenched in that moment. You don't have to decide what it means or try to change it. You can just notice it. You might ask, where do I feel my breath moving? And what happens in my body when I breathe out? Is there one place that feels a little softer? Can I allow this breath to be enough without trying to make it happen? Instead of treating your body like a problem that needs to be fixed, you begin listening to it. So many women have spent years overriding what their bodies are trying to tell them. We push through exhaustion, we ignore tension, we hold our breath, and we tell ourselves we should be able to handle more. Curiosity responds differently. It says, I notice you. I'm listening. You don't have to get louder for me to pay attention. The goal isn't to use breathing to make every uncomfortable emotion disappear. You're just creating enough steadiness to stay present with yourself while the feeling moves through. And there's another simple way to work with the exhale that helps it become slower and longer. And that's humming. Humming naturally lengthens your exhale and creates a gentle vibration throughout your throat, head, and chest. But you don't need to understand the science to notice how it feels. The hum doesn't need to be loud. Even one or two humming breaths can give your body a slower rhythm and a steady sensation to follow. And one thing I have learned in my own life is that nervous system practice doesn't have to be long or elaborate to change the way I move through my day. For a long time, I made time for meditation and intentional breathing, mostly on my days off. On mornings when I had to get up early for a long shift, I felt like I needed every possible minute of sleep. But eventually, I began protecting a small amount of time for tapping, breathing, and centering myself on those mornings too. Just about 10 minutes or so. My shifts were still long, still stressful and demanding. Now that changed. But I met the day differently. I felt calmer, more aligned, and more centered, not only during the practice, but throughout the rest of the day as well. I wasn't waiting until I became overwhelmed to try to regulate myself. I was giving my nervous system an experience of safety before the demands of the day began. Now, one breathing exercise may help you to feel a shift in the moment, but when you return to it regularly, you're helping your body become more familiar with the pathway back to calm. Your nervous system learns through experience, not only through information. Each time you practice, you give it another experience of activation followed by settling. Going back to the accelerator, at first you might only notice your foot ease off the gas for a few minutes. But over time, your body begins to recognize that it doesn't have to keep the engine revving at every red light. You may notice sooner when your breathing becomes shallow. You may start to recognize tension before it builds into overwhelm. And instead of waiting until you're completely depleted, you can begin returning to yourself. The goal isn't to stay calm all the time, it's to become more flexible, to respond when life requires something from you, and then find your way back to the moment once it has passed. And eventually, you begin developing a different kind of trust. The knowledge that you have somewhere within yourself to return to. As you practice, continue listening to your body. This is about helping your body feel supported. And your breath is just one way you can give your nervous system a physical signal of safety. Another great way is tapping. EFT tapping works in a similar way by combining gentle stimulation of acupressure points, which sends your nervous system a signal of safety combined with focused attention on what you're feeling. So if you like another simple technique that you can use when anxiety or overwhelm begin building in your body, click on this video and watch the Tapping for Anxiety That Calms Your Body Fast video.